So, Netflix Games' first boss has reportedly left the company months after switching roles to focus on AI. Cream, I can see your fucking face dying already. Let's just go through this a little bit, then we'll get your honest-to-God reaction on Richtofen. Former EA and Facebook executive Mike Verdu joined Netflix in August of last year and was tasked with leading the streaming service expansion into the video games market. So he stepped down from his role last year and took a new role of VP for Gen AI for games, which he described as, quote, a driving once-in-a-generation inflection point for a game development and player experience using generative AI. However, according to journalists from his File Games newsletter, Verdu has now left Netflix entirely, and this news was reportedly confirmed by a Net representative. When he left his leadership role last year, he was replaced by Alan Tascan, the former executive and vice president of game development at Epic Games. So since Tascan's arrival, Netflix has started making widespread changes to its video game, including shutting down numerous aspects of its attempt to reorganize the interactive side of the business. So in October, Netflix shut down its first AAA studio, which was known as Team Blue. I remember that. After spending the past couple of years acquiring a number of veteran developers to join that, including people from Overwatch and Halo. They had Joseph Staten from Halo. If you follow Halo, Joseph Staten's been like one of the guys. Yeah. And former Santa Monica art director as well. All three have left Netflix after the studio was closed down. How this is like what really interests me in this is, with all the money that Netflix has, they just cannot get this video game side up and running. They just can't fucking do it. They have those shitty mobile games, you know, but they can't get their AAA or even AA stuff out there. It's just one clusterfuck after another.
Yeah, so here's the thing with Netflix. I actually think Netflix could do a pretty good job in the gaming industry if they were smart about it. One, you have an app, right? You have one of the best, you know, most downloaded apps. A ton of people subscribe to it, and a lot of people have it on their phones. If you include those games in the phone through like cloud gaming, right? Or people just use their mobile data, right? That is a huge advantage. You basically get to circumvent the Google Play Store. What happens now is, I think a couple of them you can play an app, but most of them you have to download from the App Store, and it only allows you to play it if you have a Netflix subscription. That's a problem. This reliance upon getting established IPs and either making shitty games for them or making shitty ports. Like, for example, we had Football Manager. That was one that's a Sega game. They have a port for that. There's obviously the biggest one being the GTA games. So we know that there's going to be WWE games coming to Netflix. I would assume probably NBA games later down the road as well, because they've been doing a lot of work with Take-Two. This is a huge problem. They need to focus in on the mobile market first. You need to make really good mobile games that stand out, then focus on AAA, because you are effectively a mobile-based company. Yes, people watch Netflix on their TV and they watch it on their computer, but a lot of people just watch on their phones. Most people just watch Netflix on their phone. So if you can get into this market, which is more lucrative in some ways than the normal gaming market, then you're able to take everything that you've learned and add that to a AAA company or a AA company. They tried to do everything at once and they ended up failing.
Which is strange, isn't it? Like you'd think, like, one thing I've never understood about this whole approach was, you think they would really have dialed in on, here's our Squid Games game, you know, that type of stuff. Here's our Cobra Kai game, all that type of shit. But they just can't seem to get anything up and running, despite having Netflix money, which is a lot, and despite having some people that are outright veterans of the industry, and they just can't get their shit together. Nothing just works. They just keep falling apart before they can even get anything out. I don't know, man.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, when I go to Netflix, I've never touched any of their games on Netflix ever. Like, not a single time. I've seen them. I've never touched a single one. And usually that's because when I'm going to Netflix, it's because there's a show or a movie that I want to watch, and I choose to do that over playing their game. I feel like that there's like a bit of a conflict there, where people, when they go to Netflix, usually, I mean, I know that there's people that go there because they're bored and they're trying to find something to watch and stuff, but I feel like that it kind of conflicts, because people, when they go to Netflix, they're going in with the intention to watch something, and then when they see like the games there, it's like, well, I'm here to watch something, I'm not here to play a game. So I feel like that they have to like kind of like figure out a different strategy for doing that too, almost, you know.
I know Prime didn't do it exactly the best. I mean, that game fucking flopped after a while. I'm not saying the game is good, but I liked their version of how they did it. It was on Steam, it was on everything that they could, you know what I mean? And it was just, they funded the game. I think Netflix funded games could be a lot better than just.
I feel like Netflix, like the website would be a good place to advertise for their games, but you know, drive people to know about what their games are all about, and all that stuff, and where they can find them. And then people, when they are in the mood to play a game, they can go check it out somewhere else, you know. So, or
even like going back to what I was saying before about using their own, like Stranger Things and all that. Netflix puts ads and stuff in now. Why not throw an ad in halfway through an episode or start of the episode, and the episode, whatever it is, going, hey, keep the Stranger Things experience going, and have some commercial, man. They just can't seem to get the ball moving. Because Vex has a question here saying Netflix has the, oh, sorry, that was the wrong one. Has Netflix even announced anything of significance since their gaming division launched? All they've ever announced is studios and people they have working for them, and none of those studios are there, and none of those people are there anymore. So it's been announcements for people that are going to make stuff that never made anything and then left.
Well, and they announced all those deals with other companies where it's just port. Now, like, this is a perfect time for them to do that advertising, though, because I think that is actually what you have to do. You have to show people that, hey, Netflix is your hub for entertainment, not just for films and TV, if you want to make those games be successful, right? Like, look at what Netflix has coming up. They got more sporting events that they're doing. They got boxing coming up. I know they have a highly touted women's fight coming up, I think, in June. They have wrestling 3 nights a week. 1 night if you're in the US, 3 nights if you're everywhere else in the world. They have a brand new show tonight with John Mulaney where they're doing basically a late night comedy show. So you have that as well. All of those shows run ad breaks and advertise your stuff. This is what they did when they had the NFL on at Christmas. They have failed internationally to really capitalize on the amount of ad space they have. Like, if I'm watching wrestling on Netflix, I just get a thing being like, we'll be back soon, break going on. I don't get commercials. Whereas, like, people will sit through those commercials if it's a live event. It's crazy to say. They won't sit through if it's... They hate the commercials when it's like, oh, I just want to watch Breaking Bad and now you're interrupting me. But if it's a set commercial break, people are more than willing to sit through it, especially if something comes up that they might be interested in. So if you direct those ads for all these games that you're working on, then you'll be able to get more people to use it. That's one part of the problem. The second part is you actually have to make good games. And none of the games were actually good or endearing or really had any good value to them at all.
Yeah, I do kind of agree with Kareem. I think that they either need to, you know, kind of get more into the mobile side and utilize, you know, their mobile market more, or they need to like take one of their original IPs under Netflix and they need to like come out with like a banger game that's like a AAA like full-fledged game for that franchise. So yeah,
just shows you that all the talent and all the money in the world doesn't fucking mean anything if people just don't get shit done. Right?
Yeah.